This dress was one of my favorites from my fall haul this past autumn. It is made out of Swiss dot out of cotton, and it looked to be homemade, and I did some research and found the pattern that I believe it was made from, and it's from June of 1941. It had some yellowing, oxidation, and especially across the back and on the underarms. So before I attempt any cleaning, I want to make sure that the red, the trim, the rickrack there, as well as the dots aren't going to bleed when it's washed. And it looked like it wasn't going to, so I proceeded. It had some large buttons on it, and the fabric was a really sheer, fine material, so I took those off to avoid any undue stress on it. Started off with retro wash, and you can see there the yellow water. And then I'm going to do a more longer soak with Mama's Miracle Linen Soak. You have to get really hot water to dissolve it. And I could have used the sous vide, immersion circulator, but I tried to come up with different ways so that folks could maybe do some of these techniques that might be helpful to them. So I put it in a cooler because that can insulate it. And I put it in a tub inside the cooler. And then about every hour, I would add hot water to the outside out of it, kind of a bain-marie type thing to help kind of maintain the temperature. In the end, the temperature did drop, but it held it pretty well. And in the end here, it looked like a lot of the dots came off. And so the good news is it was white again, but the bad news is in those areas where there was the oxidation, like the arms and across the back, and not on the skirt, but just in those areas, the dots popped off. Would I have had that problem with less soaking? I don't know. So had an idea to use fabric markers to replace those dots. The markers are acid-free and they are permanent. And I know this is not like something a museum is going to do or anything, but for this particular situation, I felt I had to do something, otherwise it's really not wearable. So one by one with some paper underneath, and it was actually kind of fun. I used the brush tip of that marker, and here you can see it so much better. I'm going to zoom in real close here, and you can't hardly tell. They're just a bit fainter than what the originals were, and of course they don't have that 3-dimension that the original ones do, but the eye just cannot tell that they were done with a marker. So then I did some pressing, and then here I had to put the buttons back on, and I did put a little bit of fabric on the back to kind of just help it out and reinforce a little bit. So here she is. I think it was totally worth the effort. She went from yellowed and underarm stained and just kind of overall dingy till she's bright and clean once again. Yes, those dots, some of them are replacements, but I swear you would never know. And I love it that the person who originally made this took what was supposed to be more of a formal, and they made it a more casual dress using this choice of the cotton dotted Swiss and then the trims. And I think it's adorable and wearable once again.